Do you ever wonder why you can never get anything done? Why you just can't seem to get excited doing that project, starting that business, lifting weights, or doing the things that would really make the largest positive impact on your life? But yet, it's extremely easy to get motivated to sit down and play video games, binge watch Netflix, and scroll endlessly on social media for hours without even a second thought. What would happen if you didn't watch TV or play video games for more than 5 years? What could you accomplish? Maybe the reason why you can't get any work done is because you're addicted to TV and Xbox. It sounds funny to say you're addicted to TV, video games, or social media, but the truth is we all get sucked into it whether we want to or not. This addiction or pull we feel is a direct result of the dopamine hits our brain gets when we sit in front of a screen. Dopamine is the pleasure chemical released in the brain that is related to pleasure, reward, and motivation. But yet, doing healthy things like reading a book or lifting weights increase dopamine levels in your brain as well. So why does binging Breaking Bad, Call of Duty, or Instagram models seem so much more intriguing and easy to do than to just pick up a book or a dumbbell? Well, think of it like this. Imagine you have a dopamine button in your head. Reading a book is like pushing the dopamine button every minute or two. It's a nice release of feel-good chemicals. Whereas TV, video games, or social media is like you were spamming the hell out of the button. With new fresh stimuli every second, with each swipe, you continue to spam the dopamine button and with little to no effort besides simply barely moving your finger. So how does this affect your life? Well, it makes it to where doing something constructive like reading a book or lifting weights seems so boring. The small amount of enjoyment that you get out of these activities seems to be nothing in comparison to the dopamine flow that you get from spamming that easy dopamine button. And while it may not seem like it, this may be what's keeping you from achieving your biggest goals. From the time I was 17 until I was 23, I went without a TV and literally didn't play video games for more than 5 years. In that time, I had built a 6-figure company, found the girl of my dreams, and literally felt the happiest that I had in years. And to be honest, even though I didn't have a TV or any kind of console for over 5 years, I never really felt like I was keeping myself from enjoying life or anything. I was just so busy building my business and enjoying every second of it that to stop and stare at a TV screen for hours just seemed kind of boring and pointless. But last year, after the whole COVID shutdown, I went to GameStop and I bought myself an Xbox One, which was the first console I had had since I was a teenager. Even though I was a little bit late to the party, I found myself really enjoying Fortnite. Got him! I also got a subscription to ESPN Plus on my new smart TV and started watching the UFC fights like I did when I was a kid. I started following the fighters, spending hours a day listening to podcasts and YouTube videos about sports betting, and looking forward to playing Fortnite at the end of every workday and watching UFC on the weekends. Almost every Saturday, I found myself from the afternoon to evening watching the UFC fights, and then on Sundays, a buddy would come over, we'd play Fortnite until our girlfriends literally turned off the console. I even started to find myself thinking about Fortnite during the day and always kind of having that voice in the back of my head that was like, man, I really wish I was playing Fortnite right now.
I just want to play Fortnite.
Yeah, guys, let's take the rest of the day off.
I didn't really think much of it. I mean, why would I? What harm is being done by me playing an hour of video games each day after work, or, spending some of my free time on the weekend watching the UFC fights and getting into sports betting? I found myself saying, I work hard, I deserve to do these things that I enjoy, and everyone needs a hobby. But the thing was that sports betting and video games started to take up a lot of my mind space. Instead of getting caught up on work or spending intimate time one-on-one with my girlfriend, I was staying up late playing Fortnite.
81. He's one shot. God damn it.
Okay, what the fuck? How does that keep happening? What is that? The fact is that these dopamine spamming activities were becoming addicting and were starting to integrate themselves into my weekly and daily habits and routines. So now that we've come to terms with our addiction and have had this sort of dopamine intervention, how can we use this dopamine drive to your advantage? I found that a lot of times after all the excitement that I experienced from playing these video games or betting on the fights, that I would either be on some sort of super high or super low, depending on whether I was winning or losing. I think that these feelings made it pretty clear that these weren't necessarily healthy ways to spend my time. Because I started to realize that I was borderline addicted to these things, I wanted to find a way to use it to my advantage. I downloaded a streak app, programmed in my desired habits, and told myself that if I was able to get all of these things done during the day, there was nothing wrong with playing a little Fortnite before bed. At first, this actually worked super well. I was able to use video games as the carrot at the end of the stick, and it actually ended up making it to where I had a 60-day streak of waking up early, journaling, meditating, working out, stretching. But once I broke that streak, I found that it was super easy just to fall back into my old ways. All of these positive habits that once completed gave me permission to do things that were otherwise unproductive. For some, this might not really seem like that big of a deal, which I get, but once you put into perspective that playing video games each weekday before you go to bed for an hour doesn't really seem like a big deal, but that's 5 hours a week that you could otherwise spend on something productive. It starts to really put into perspective what you could have accomplished in that amount of time. Spending 5 hours a week in the gym could give you a six-pack. Spending 5 hours a week to get that business started that you've always wanted to could be life-changing. Spending an extra 5 hours a week making those sales calls at your job could be the difference between barely scraping by or making multiple six figures a year. I think it's important to enjoy life to the best of your ability, but if you find yourself stuck in these dopamine traps, just take it for what it is, try to break the addiction, or find a way to channel that addiction into things that create positivity in your life or get you closer to your goals. I don't think any of us are going to look back at our lives and regret time spent with family and friends or time spent improving our health or building these other constructive skills and habits. But I know, at least for me, if I were to lose one of my loved ones tomorrow, I'd probably regret those Saturdays that I spent watching sports all day rather than going and visiting them, but yet we say we don't have time to call our grandma because we're so busy. I think I would find myself regretting not putting more energy into those relationships. So if you have the willpower, take on the challenge and maybe even try getting rid of that Xbox or TV and instead reinvesting that time into the things that make you feel good about yourself. Developing those positive skills and habits or spending that extra time with your loved ones, as I don't think that's anything that we are going to regret. Of course, I don't think anything's bad in moderation, but I can guarantee that if you were to just fully get rid of those distractions, that you would see a huge increase in your productivity. So let me know down below in the comments if you guys are brave enough to take on the challenge of getting rid of your TV and Xbox for 5 years. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to follow us on the journey to Real Estate Millionaire, and hit that like button. And as a thank you, here is a compilation of some clips I think that you'll enjoy. So thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.
We're gonna hop right into it. Let's get started.
Another day and a job. Another day. Background. I am the little-headed man. I have a little head. You could just make an hour of just dumb shit to pass to my kids.
I might do that.